Hello and welcome back to Danish Lessons with the Missing N. In this video we will be looking at the Danish word for it. Now, in the previous lesson on questions and answered, we already looked at how you could use these two words to mean it. You can basically use these two words, den and de, to replace already existing nouns so you don't have to repeat them like you use the word it. So just to illustrate my point here, you could say træet gror, which means the tree grows or is growing, the tree grows. Or you could just replace that with det gror, it grows. And you can do the same if you've got an N-type noun. So this is essentially, it's saying it because you're replacing an already existing noun and you're referring to a specific one. That is not what I'm talking about here. I am talking about cases where it doesn't refer to anything, but you're just saying it, something. It rains is the first example we'll be looking at, and the it in this sentence doesn't refer to anything. It's not, you could say it's the weather, but really it's just a very, it's is a common way to start a sentence, or it something. So, it's raining, as I said, would be det regner. So you can use this generally to describe other things about the weather. Det regner, it's raining. Again, this it is just a generic it. Let's have another example. Det hårdt. Now this means it's hard. It is, so we've seen this again, this is, and this is, that without the T would mean hard, and we're going to look at why we're adding the T. If you know a bit about grammar, this makes it into an adverb, so basically you're not describing a particular thing, you're describing a verb, but we'll get to all that. This means it's hard, and you could even, if you want to say it's hard to walk, for example, det hårdt at gå. Det hårdt at gå. It is hard to walk. So that is again an it, that's not really referring to anything. Now let's have another example where we're going to perhaps diverge a little bit more from the way it is in English, but still sort of follow the pattern here. What was the example I wanted to give? Yes. Det gør ondt. Now this is a common expression. The words already mean something on their own. Gør, this is a verb. At gør, jeg gør. It means to do, or to perform something. Whereas this here, again, is an adjective. Without the T, it would mean bad or evil or malicious. But this phrase in itself is so common that you also associate this with pain. Det gør ondt means it's painful. And you don't even need to be pointing at anything. It could just be that someone's touching a wound of yours and you say, det gør ondt, which means that right now you're in pain. You could add something to the end, again, at gå, it is painful to walk. And that's how you'd say that, det gør ondt at gå. But you don't need this is optional, you can just say this on your own, and this is another use of the word det. And finally, so we've got 3 examples so far. The 4th example I want to give is a slightly different structure, but still with that word det. Jeg har det godt. Again, each word means something. You've seen some of it. I have it. And this god is obviously good and becomes an adverb. So this is well when you add the T. I have it well is literally what this says. And it means I'm doing fine. I'm good. I'm doing well. And it's a very common phrase. And in fact, just these 3 words can be used with other things. It doesn't have to be gut. It can be skidt. There are plenty of other, you can't add anything at the end here, but there are plenty of other words that you can add to the end to describe how you're feeling. And this uses the word it, and it says, I have it, but it doesn't, this means have, but it doesn't describe any sort of ownership. This is just an example of a phrase in which the word it appears that just describes very generally how you're feeling. So here are 4 examples of how the word it can be used in a very generic sort of way. That's all for this time. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching. Please follow me on Twitter if you want to know more. Until next time, hej det godt.